right, Governor Newsom is now speaking. Let's go to that live news conference.
Impactful things you can do to protect yourself, protect your health and the health of others, and more broadly the community and our state. And that's the importance, the imperative of doing what we can to practice what we have been preaching, and that is putting on a face covering, wearing a face mask. Countries that have worn masks, that have had universal mask policies in place at the beginning of this pandemic, have seen a substantial reduction and mitigation of the spread of COVID-19 in this virus. States that have also mandated requirements, in cities and counties, large and small, have also seen slower spread in comparison to other states that have not adopted, or other counties and communities that have not adopted these standards. The evidence is simply overwhelming. Masks keep Californians healthy. And as a consequence, we have for many, many months now, going back to the beginning of many of these presentations, been encouraging you to wear masks. Of course, the last number of weeks now, it's a mandate in the state of California, and for good reason. This slide I presented to you before is a slide that gives you a sense of how far the droplets, when you cough, go, and how far a distance those droplets can go if you sneeze. Just take a look at this closely. If you cough, droplets go about 6 feet. Even if you take a big exhale, the droplets go as far as 4.5 feet. But if you sneeze, 26 feet. So it's just a reminder of the power and potency of these masks to mitigate the spread of those droplets and to keep you healthier and keep others healthier and safer at the same time. For months now, we have been putting out PSAs, public awareness campaigns. Recently, we put out one with all of the ex-governors, and just very proud of Governor Schwarzenegger and his inspiration for this idea to encourage Governor Brown, Governor Davis, and Governor Wilson to put out a PSA. And what was notable about this public awareness campaign that we put out a number of weeks back was not only that 4 ex-governors were willing to do it, which was humbling in and of itself, but 2 representing the Republican Party, 2 representing the Democratic Party, making the point that this is not a partisan issue, this is not a political issue, this is a public health issue. We did PSAs that we put out in a very culturally competent way in many different languages all throughout the last number of months, encouraging you, back when we had the stay-at-home order more formally advanced, encouraging you to practice physical distancing, social distancing, to do the kind of hygiene that is required at this moment, and of course, wear masks. We did animations. We went so far as to, well, when in doubt, pull in the Seinfeld cast and got Larry David. If you haven't seen these PSAs, I, by the way, encourage you to take a look at these PSAs that are on the covid19.ca.gov website, or just type in Larry David PSA. And of course, you can't be an ex-lieutenant governor and not be a fan of Veep. And so we also had Julia do a video for us as well. Snoop Dogg, Kim Kardashian. I honestly could add to many of these. I can show you images of PSAs we put out, but we tried to really break the barriers in terms of breaking down, meeting people where they are by age, demographic, whether or not they're watching broadcast TV, radio, or social media, if you're on TikTok or you're on Instagram, if you're doing more traditional social media on large platforms. We tried to reach out, but we did so in more of an episodic way. We are now launching a major public awareness campaign, announcing it formally today, launching it formally today, that is much more comprehensive, much more dynamic, we hope much more impactful, to encourage people to wear masks and mitigate the spread of this virus. We've already received, and I couldn't be more proud to have received $10.75 million in this campaign, $27 million additional dollars in-kind contributions to begin and to launch this campaign. I just want to be, express gratitude, and I want to express appreciation, particularly to the CDC Foundation, the Sierra Health Foundation, the Chan Zuckerberg Foundation, to Jeff Skoll and his foundation, to Rick Caruso as an individual contributor, to Tom Steyer as an individual contributor, and to our entire Business and Jobs Recovery Task Force that helped inspire this effort and has helped organize our effort in a multidisciplinary approach. Again, radio, TV, a focus on messages that we think can hit home in traditional ways, more emotional ways, and again, in messages that people can understand in Arabic, in Cantonese, in Mandarin, in Vietnamese, and other languages, and clearly Spanish. I'll give you a preview of what this public service announcement will look like. It includes, and I'll get to that in a moment, some billboards as well, animation. But we'll start with these two very short videos that will give you a sense of what you're going to start seeing on your TV screen.
Con el sudor en la frente y las sonrisas escondidas, los lentes empañados y las miradas dedicadas, un pedacito de tela demuestra que los demás te importan. Por favor, usa mascarilla. Cumplamos con nuestra parte para reducir la propagación.
So those are two messages. One, that we believe is particularly impactful as it relates to the true health consequences of being neglectful of your health and the health of others. And of course, one that truly represents the diversity of our state, providing a message in Spanish, as is absolutely appropriate in the state of California. It gives you a sense of what you'll start seeing out there. Accordingly, we have now over 400 billboard sites that we are putting up that you see here on the screen, wearing a mask, slow the spread, trying to make this as simplistic as we can, but as pointed as we can, as a reminder of the significance we place on what we refer to as a non-pharmaceutical intervention that is the most impactful outside of staying at home, outside of practicing the physical distancing. Wearing a mask is foundational, and again, it's mandatory here in the state of California. So that's what we're launching. I want to again thank all our partners for inspiring this, for writing the checks and getting the in-kind contributions. We hope to grow this campaign. We hope to make it even more comprehensive. But as I said, you'll be seeing the fruits of this effort tonight, this afternoon. These billboards are coming up and the PSAs are going out, and of course over the next few days, in particular around 4th of July holiday weekend. We want to get this done before the 4th of July holiday weekend and then well beyond until we mitigate the spread of this disease. I want to just update you on some of the actions we took yesterday and just acknowledge and thank our local partners. I talked yesterday in very positive and optimistic terms about the counties that we were working with, the 19 counties in the state of California that we have targeted in terms of support that are on what we refer to lazily as a watch list, but a monitoring list more formally. This group, this cohort of local actions that you see represented in this slide just represents leadership at the local level and partnership. Folks in Glenn County, Sacramento County, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, Fresno, Santa Barbara, San Bernardino, Riverside. We expect actions to be taken today and yesterday. LA led Kings County, Ventura, Solano, and we talked about Imperial County and how they moved, to their credit, in partnership, the spirit of partnership, to meet this moment and do more so that we can all do better in mitigating the transmission, the spread of this disease. So that represents the vast majority of the 19 counties. We're working with the other counties, and we made this clear, again, in the spirit of partnership, that we don't want to do things to you, but with you. But we reserve the right to move forward with this mandate if we don't see action at the local level demonstrably. Just in 24 hours, you've seen local level action along the lines of what we were hoping for, and we expect all 19 to come into compliance. And again, if not, that hand will be forced in the spirit that requires this moment. And again, we're confident we're going to see progress. By the way, I want to also just acknowledge the incredible progress we've seen as it relates to Orange County's move and the work local beaches and Huntington Beach and some other beach communities. To their credit, their local elected officials, local health officers are moving forward with their own local decisions that go beyond just closing parking lots to help decompress their beaches over the 4th of July weekend. We want to applaud that, want to acknowledge that, and also just thank, again, the leadership in LA and Ventura County that really led with that local framework, looking again specifically into this holiday weekend with the kind of concern that many of us have about people gathering, mixing outside of their household, not practicing physical distancing, not wearing face masks, and the prospect that in a week or 2 to 3 weeks, we'll see those numbers spike yet again. I want to just encourage people, as always, to do the right thing, and we expect the vast majority. It's demonstrable on the basis of the actions you've seen from those counties on that previous slide. But we want to encourage as individuals and business leaders to do the right thing. Yesterday, I announced that we were going to send out notifications from our what we call Occupational Safety and Health Board, OSHA, as it's commonly referred to. We put out over 350,000 letters that we've sent out yesterday, specifically laying out expectations in terms of good business behaviors to protect not only customers, but to protect workers in those businesses. We also put out other public health information and mandates that we also will follow up through this enforcement action that we highlighted yesterday. 6 regions of the state, teams of anywhere from 7 state agencies to as many as 10 state agencies that will be going out in the spirit of collaboration, spirit of education, spirit of cooperation, and not punitive frame first, but an encouragement frame first. To help enforce all of these efforts, again, because the seriousness of we take right related to the recent spread and increase in cases of COVID-19. Let's talk about that increase in spread. In the last 24-hour reporting period, we saw 4,056 cases that were identified as positive to begin the month of July. We have seen over the course of the last 14 days our positivity rate now rise to 6.3%. Again, it started 40.8%. When we did the first 14-day roll, we saw a significant decline in the positivity rate. Unfortunately, we're starting to see an increase in the positivity rate, not only over a 14-day period, but over the last 7 days, it has been 6.9%. Looking, though, at the 14-day period, I want to show you that trend line. This is why we have the mask mandate. This is why we're doing the PSAs. This is why we're encouraging you to take individual responsibility, more social responsibility to protect your family, your friends, and the broader community. But the slide you see represented here, that increase in that orange line represents a 37% increase in the positivity rate just over a 2-week period. Again, now over a 14-day period, 6.3%. The number of hospitalizations, I've said this on many occasions, I'll repeat it again today. Hospitalizations, as you see positivity rates go up, total number of cases that are identified as positive, we're going to see a trend line of increase in hospitalization as a lagging indicator. We've now had a 56% increase in hospitalizations over the 2-week reporting period. 56%, just over a 2-week reporting period. Again, reinforcing the importance of these local actions and reinforcing the importance of your personal responsibility, your actions on behalf of yourself, your families, over the course of this holiday weekend. Total number of hospitalizations represents 5,355 patients in a hospital system that has capacity for 73,867. So again, that represents about 7% of the total population of our current hospital system beds. The total number of people, patients admitted overall is 46,035. That's represented in that 62% number. This, again, is a slide, if you've been watching, tuning in, you're very familiar with. But that COVID patient population still represents about 7%, 6-7%. It's been rather consistent over the course of the last number of days, moving into last week. ICUs are up some 49% in the last 2 weeks. You can see, not surprisingly, as you see trend line increase on positivity rates, trend line increases on hospital rates. Invariably, we'll see trend lines increasing on ICU admissions. The ICU admissions represent on this pie chart, you'll see that subset of the 10,788 total ICU beds, 1,676 are filled with ICU COVID-positive patients. We still have capacity in our ICU system. Again, this is capacity in the aggregate. And I'll remind everybody, none of us live in the aggregate. We live in communities large and small, different hospital resources, different capacity resources. But this, in the aggregate, represents our total capacity, including the total number of ventilators in the state, still in excess of 11,400 plus ventilators that we have within the hospital system and in our cache here at the Office of Emergency Service, what we refer to as EMSA. As it relates to this 4th of July weekend, again, we have the mandatory closures as it relates to certain activities within sectors, within businesses. Indoor activities is where we're trying to push outdoors. Indoor dining, we want to push outdoor dining. I want to get as many of those activities where you're mixing or could come into contact with people you haven't been with in your household, and you may come into contact and mix with them, increasing the likelihood of the spread of this virus. We're trying to mitigate that. And this 4th of July weekend is one of the most social weekends in our lives. This is perhaps my last formal opportunity as we move into that weekend. Many of you will move in tomorrow on Friday, not just formally over Saturday and Sunday. I want to remind you that many cities have already canceled their fireworks shows. Many cities have already adopted their own local guidelines saying we'll continue to do our fireworks, but we encourage you to stay in your cars or stay home and just enjoy them from afar. Again, in those 19 counties that we are working very closely with, we want to see those fireworks shows or eliminated accordingly. We want to remind you that we don't want to see you, bunch of strangers, without being physically distanced and without wearing face coverings over the weekend to the extent you can. That's why we say avoid crowds and avoid going to large parades outside of your household. Again, this is common sense, and I don't mean to be patronizing or paternalistic about all of this. I'm just working with local health officials, dealing with the data, the science, trying to mitigate, as we were so successful mitigating the spread of this disease by tempering that growth of the curve in the beginning. We need to do that again. We will do that again, and it's really going to be up to each and every one of you to see how quickly we can do that. And that's why this weekend is so important. We put out more formal 4th of July weekend guidelines that are up on the covid19.ca.gov website, but encourage you to follow them, take seriously this weekend, take seriously this moment that we're living in. A moment, it's not permanent, a moment that we'll get through together, but we have to continue to fight this disease, do more and do better. Accordingly, no important way you could do that than wearing a mask, wearing a face covering. And I want to just encourage all of you in the spirit that brings us this PSA, that brings this new media campaign to the forefront, to do what you can to protect yourself, to protect others and send a message that recognizes that we're not out of this pandemic. We're still in the first wave, and we have a lot of work to do to mitigate the spread, to make sure that our hospital system is ready to receive people outside of an emergency for a COVID-related.
All right, you've been watching the Governor's Live Update. Our coverage continues streaming on CBSN Bay Area. Today's focus by Governor Newsom was the importance of wearing a face mask. You see it right there, wear a mask. He announced the state is launching a new major public awareness campaign to encourage everyone to do so, and more than $10 million in contributions will help get those ads on TV, radio, also billboards. He hopes the messages will be impactful and hit home, especially with more than 4,000 new coronavirus cases yesterday in California. ICU admissions are also up more than 50% in the past 2 weeks.